Are you tired of feeling always that you never have enough time to finish your tasks? Or during the whole day you feel like there's so many things to do but you don't feel like something has been accomplished during the day? In this video, I will share my personal 6 productivity techniques. Now, they are personal, but I haven't made them. I personally use them and I've seen changes in my life happening through those 6 techniques. And they have helped me stay on track of my tasks. Obviously, we can never finish our task list, but at least I can be ahead of my task list, plan things accordingly, and be more proactive. So, there you go, 6 productivity tips for me. Number 1. Have you felt that as soon as you sit to focus on something and finish a task, after a few minutes you see yourself scrolling on social media or getting distracted by something else? Why does it happen that way? Or after sitting for a few minutes of doing a task, you feel tired and you're not able to replicate the same thing. There are 2 things that are fundamentally wrong here. First thing, we try to finish too much at once. And second thing, we try to focus so that we can focus and that to just by ourselves. I'll explain what I mean by that. Okay, there was a study that in this 21st century, in the world of social media, on an average, a human can focus for max 20 minutes. If you push it, that's 40 minutes. And the other study is if we do not move our body for more than 40 minutes, our blood pressure starts to drop or stabilize, and that creates a bit of fatigue. Hence, our concentration level drops down. That is one of the reasons why usual university lectures do not exceed more than 55 minutes. So using the psychology and biology knowledge, I haven't created it, but there's a technique called Pomodoro technique that I have used it though. That simply means whatever you want to do in 25-minute chunks and then take a few minutes break. I personally use a tool called TickTick, which is a personal to-do list management tool, I believe. And it's got an inbuilt Pomodoro timer, it's got a background music. So there are 3 things that I personally use in this Pomodoro technique that help me get better. First thing, I always play a clock in front of me on my computer screen, which goes for 25 minutes in one shot. And the second thing, I have background music happening, which is a focus music or lo-fi music, whatever you can call it. And that helps me, first of all, stay on track and have a sense of urgency that I've got a clock in front of me that I want to beat that. And second thing, having music in the background helps me focus and get me in the zone of what I'm doing. So that's called Pomodoro technique. In simple words, focus for 25 minutes at once, take a few minutes break, and then second Pomodoro, and then the third Pomodoro. I personally do not go for more than 3 pomos, that's how we call it. And then I take a longer break and start that sprint again. Instead of focusing for 3 hours or 2 hours in one stretch, I focus in 25 minutes each. The second technique is called getting things done. I personally learned it from the book Getting Things Done by David Allen. I'll drop a link in the description below if you want to buy it. So it actually simply means that every task has a life cycle. Now, pre-execution, getting things done means whenever you want to do something, don't just jump onto it. Take a task through its life cycle in terms of stages. First one is the capture phase, where we write all the tasks that you have in your mind. It could be a seed task, we call it a baby task. It's not scoped yet, but just put in and write somewhere. Second is clarification phase, where you open the task or you pick the task and start scoping it in terms of how does it look to do that, why do you want to do that, by when do you think you want to do that, and you add more details to it. Third is organization or organizing phase, where I focus on understanding, okay, when do I need to do that, in terms of is it a part of a project, or it will be a standalone task, or it could be a subtask. So putting more structure into how I achieve that particular task. Fourth stage is reflection stage, where I put that into a structure format in terms of, okay, now I got the details of what needs to be done. I need what the details of, is it even relevant to be done? And third thing, what kind of task it will be. And so the second last stage is putting that into a plan, a to-do list, or a structure, a paper pen, whatever I follow to act on things. And the last part, which is engage phase, that is, now you got everything scoped, now you work on it if it really matters at that moment. Otherwise, you can even delegate or delete it. That can help. It's not about just being busy all the time. It's about doing things that matter. The second part of getting things done is creating a not to-do list. What does it mean? It sounds very funny, but yeah, not to do list means following intentional procrastination. Like if a task does not have a deadline, but it's mildly important, you can push it forward in future and not feel bad about it. Second is delegation. It's not necessary that I am best at everything. So it's okay for me to delegate it to someone who's good at that skill, or maybe I can pay someone to do the task for me. Third point is deleting a task or archiving a task if its value or significance is not as important as it was when it was created. The last point in not to do list section is automating repetitive tasks. For example, buying groceries. Like I personally do not go to buy groceries. We do home delivery. So it saves me 2 to 3 hours every week. Like paying bills versus setting them for auto debit. Like doing exercise. Every time I go to gym, instead of thinking what I need to do, I have notes in my phone which is pre-planned. I just read them and execute that. So it's automating things. Now the third technique is called Eisenhower matrix. It's a very fancy name, but it is very, very useful. So it says you draw 2 lines on a paper and start writing tasks based on the nature of how important something is and how urgent something is. Let's say on the right side could be urgent and important. Let's say left could be not urgent but important, and then so on and so forth. Urgent but not important, and not urgent, not important. When we see a pile of tasks, let's say 20 tasks at once, they all look important. But when you start to put them in different quadrants, they see their own space, and guess what? It makes common sense to first work on important and urgent tasks. And then important and maybe not urgent, or maybe not urgent but important. Depends on what category you want to prioritize. But it certainly helps in clarifying what is more important at that point. Guess what? Like I've been saying since the start, it's not about being busy, it's doing what matters. Now, the fourth technique is very simple that I use. I got it from a book called Eat That Frog, and that book simply says one simple psychological fact is our brain can actually handle 5 plus or minus tasks per day. What does it mean? It can focus on between 3 to 7 tasks every day where it can put energy to. And the second thing is that Eat That Frog means I should finish the toughest and the most ugliest and the tasks that I may want to procrastinate. I should do that first thing in the morning. Why does it feel better? Why does it help? If we finish the toughest and the ugliest task first thing in the morning, guess what? We have set ourselves for success during the whole day. And second thing, because it was the toughest task, we feel a sense of accomplishment, and it sets the tone for the day in a motivational manner. That's the fourth point. Now the fifth point. I understand, and I've read through some books, that our brain is made to create ideas, but not to store those ideas. Hence, it seems obvious to write those ideas, and hence why the fifth technique is called bullet journaling or just journaling. I personally buy one journal every 2 to 3 months, which I prefer to have a plain white page journal because it helps me improve my creativity. There's no lines, there's nothing, it's just plain white, and I can draw, I can write, I can scribble what I want. So what I personally use it for, let's say if I'm feeling overwhelmed by something, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling stressed, or I'm feeling too excited, I start writing in the journal as to how I'm feeling. And if there's any task or action item that I may need to perform to take that situation to the next level or to improve that situation, when I start to draw or write in my journal or / diary, I can visualize things which I cannot in one shot or in one picture if I keep thinking in my mind. Because my mind is good at creating ideas, like I said, but it's not good in conceptualizing or looking at a macro version of those ideas in one picture. The journal really helps. Just a paper and pen, the good old paper and pen is the best technique I've ever done. Now the sixth technique is called time blocking, or I can say time bundling. Now time blocking is a method of scheduling your day by assigning specific blocks of time to different tasks. This method involves creating a schedule that includes your most important tasks and assigning specific time for each task. Like I personally use my Google Calendar and I put things in my calendar. To-do list is awesome, but to-do list does not include the time we do during the day. But if I convert my to-do list into my calendar, I can actually execute things much faster and better and in a more practical way. Instead of just visualizing that I can finish those 10 tasks during the day. Guess what? A clock runs on time, not on schedules. And the second task, what I mean by bundling, let's say a task has something or a nature to it. For example, buying groceries versus reading a book. And let's say if I have to pick someone from the airport and I need to buy grocery as well, maybe I'll bundle those two tasks together. Second thing could be, let's say I want to listen to audiobook and I also have to go for workout. Maybe I'll listen to audiobook while I'm working out. For example, other thing could be, let's say I have to pick someone from the train station. And second thing, I have to buy, a bottle of milk. Maybe I'll bundle those tasks together so that I'll leave from home at once and finish whatever I can in the one round or in one iteration. So that's called time bundling or time blocking. So to summarize the 6 productivity techniques, the first one was Pomodoro technique, which is using 25-minute chunks to finish our tasks. Second is getting things done. Any idea is a good idea. It doesn't matter if it doesn't have much details to it. So capture those ideas, then clarify them, organize them, put them in a structure and engage on them. The third technique was Eat That Frog, which is focusing on 5 plus minus 2 number of tasks for each day and finishing the toughest and the ugliest tasks in the morning. The fifth technique was bullet journaling, using a diary, paper, pen, and instead of just keep thinking, writing on the diary. I call it think on the paper. And the last technique was time blocking or time bundling. Always think if you can write a to-do list, now how you can convert it into a calendar. And second thing, even in calendar, how you can bundle them based on the nature of the task. So there you have it, 6 productivity hacks that I personally use. And remember, productivity is not about doing more, it's about doing the right things. So by using these systems, you can ensure that you're spending your time on the tasks that matter the most. Thanks for watching our video. See you next time. Bye for now.